Hello dear students of Third Prep Science for second term. Today we have a new episode of Science as we have today to start with a new part in our lesson as we talk about the chemical reactions. In the previous episode we talked about the thermal decomposition reaction, and today we will continue with other part in this lesson as we will talk about simple and double substitution reaction, and if we have more enough time we will talk about and explain the oxidation and reduction as scientific terms. But before we start this episode we will هنا هنقول some names of some students as have full mark or nearly from full mark in the first term. We have Sarah Bahauddin from Luxor, 20 full mark. Rihab Hamza, 19.5. Muhammad Masri, as we see here, full mark. Karim Gamal Ibrahim from Cairo, 20 full mark. Sylvia Yusuf, full mark. Nancy Hani, full mark. Dua Salama, full mark. Madonna Latif Fathi, full mark. Anas Said from Almenia, full mark. Muhammad Ahmed Adil from Al Arish, full mark. Shahd Abdel Men'em from Aswan, full mark. Basant Mohsen, full mark. Mazen Wael, 19.5. Isra Bekhit Rizq from Aswan, full mark. شيماء القطب صابر 19.5. محمد ياسر بهاء فول مارك. عمر أمين محمود فول مارك. دينا علاء الدين فروم هرجادة أو الغردقة فول مارك. ماجد سدراك فول مارك. مريم وجيه فروم سوهاج 19. مادونا ميشيل 19.5 فروم كايرو. منال محمد بارجل 19 from البحيرة. So today dear students we will start with a new part in our curriculum in this term. We will start with a double substitution reaction, and we waiting for your calling phone on a number as you see in the screen. Okay, let's go to start our lesson today with a double substitution reaction, and we will start how what is meant by double substitution reaction. يعني ايه double substitution reaction? So as we see here we have double substitution reaction. Double substitution reaction, which means what? Exchange between the ions, and we know what is meant by ion as we have positive and negative ions of compounds to form a new what? A new compound. يبقى we have here, as you see dear students, we have exchange between what? Between ions. We exchange ions. Ions of what? Of compound. Any compound consists of two ions, positive and negative ions. We make exchange between these ions to form a new compounds عشان اطلع compound جديد. As we see here we have AB for example as this compound, and we have CD other compound. Any compound, the left side part is positive as you see here, and the right side is negative. Other compound we have left side is positive and right side is negative. So here dear students we make exchange between these ions to form a new compounds. بنعمل تبديل between these ions. Each positive ion will combine with other negative ion, as A will combine with D and C will combine with B, and we start with what? With positive and end with negative. So we will write here, as you see, we have A D with C B. So we have A D plus CB. نخلي بالنا يعني for example if we write like that NaCl, and we know NaCl is sodium chloride. We write sodium chloride NaCl, not ClNa. Why? Wrong. Why? Because we start with what? With positive ion and end with negative ion. عشان كده دايما we start with positive, end with negative, and then here we start with positive ion and end with negative ion. We have many examples about the double substitution reaction as we start with exchange between ions to form a new compounds. يبقى طلعت other new compounds. First example here we have, as you see, Na2CO3. As we have here, we have sodium carbonate. We have what here? We have sodium carbonate. اسمه ايه؟ اسمه sodium carbonate. Before we answer this question, we should make positive here and negative here. Other side, or in the same side but other compound, here we have hydrochloric what? We have hydrochloric acid. Here, hydrochloric acid, HCl, we have positive ion and negative ion. So we make exchange between ions. Each positive ion will combine with other negative ion, and here we have positive ion will combine with other negative ion. So we have 2NaCl as positive negative with H2CO3. طيب H2CO3, why? Because here we have two hydrogen atoms. مش احنا عندنا هنا two hydrogen? And here we have CO3. So we have H2. مش انا عندي two hydrogen atoms يبقى we have H2CO3. This compound is called carbonic acid. هو مش عندنا في كتاب الوزارة بس to know we have this compound or carbonic acid will decompose. هيتفك into H2O as water vapor and what? Plus CO2 carbon dioxide. So we have in this equation we have three compounds. We have three compounds. Number one, sodium chloride, NaCl. Number two, we have water vapor. Number three, we have carbon dioxide as double substitution reaction, as we have here exchange between ions to form here on the other side a new compound. Okay. Other example here about thermal decomposition reaction, as we have sodium chloride NaCl positive negative and silver nitrate AgNO3. So we have sodium nitrate NaNO3 and silver chloride AgCl. We know here sodium nitrate as you see, and we have here silver chloride AgCl as white precipitation, PPT as a white precipitation اللي هو بيسموه راصب ابيض insoluble in water ما بيدوبش في الميه. So if we have any give reason for as formation of white PPT on adding sodium chloride with silver nitrate, we can answer by using chemical equation. So dear students, in any give reason about thermal decomposition reaction or simple substitution reaction or double substitution reaction, we can use chemical equation in give reason for or what happens when. ممكن اجاوب بيهم؟ ينفع اجاوب بيهم on one condition، بشرط واحد. ايه هو؟ ان احنا we write the symbols with names. with ايه؟ with names and color if it possible. لو هو متاح لنا نكتب الوان او in our curriculum we have colors, we will write these colors. So we have here two new compounds as sodium nitrate and sodium nitrate. Its color is what? We know its color is white. Sodium nitrate, its color is white. From the previous episode we study the thermal decomposition of sodium nitrate into sodium nitrite and oxygen gas evolve. But here we have silver chloride, and silver chloride has white precipitate أو راسب أبيض. On the other side, we have other equation here or type from the chemical equation, as we have neutralization reaction. We have what? Neutralization reaction. As we want to define what is meant by neutralization reaction here, we have to know the reaction between an acid and an alkali forming salt and water. يبقى what is meant by neutralization? As we form neutral substance, we have to differentiate between acid and alkali. Acid and what? And alkali. We studied before in first prep في أولى إعدادي. Acid change litmus paper into what? Into red. And alkali change litmus paper into what? Into blue. But water or salt, الملح والمية, has what? Neutral. Neutral, which means has no effect on litmus paper. So we call this reaction, بنسمي reaction ده ايه؟ بنسميه neutralization reaction, which means reaction between acid and what? And alkali forming what? Forming salt and water. So here we form salt, بنطلع ملح, and water, and both salt and water are or have neutral effect on litmus paper. As we have here neutralization reaction, NaOH, sodium hydroxide, positive, negative. Sodium positive, hydroxide is negative. HCl as positive, negative. Left side is positive, right side is negative. So we have, as you see, we have sodium will combine with chloride, positive with negative, and H will combine with OH. So here we have what? We have NaCl, sodium chloride, and HOH. So HOH is H2O, water. مش أنا ممكن أكتبها كده H positive OH negative؟ أقول له بس طبعا we have and we studied before in 6th primary في 6 ابتدائي, first prep, second prep, في أولى إعدادي وتانية إعدادي, the chemical formula of what? Of water, H2O. So we write what? H2O, as we have here what? We have sodium chloride and water. Both sodium chloride اللي هو table salt اللي هو الملح اللي احنا بناكله اسمه sodium chloride and what? And water. Both sodium chloride as salt and water are or have neutral effect on both litmus papers as red or blue litmus paper. So we have here sodium chloride and what? And water as a solution or liquid, as we studied before. Sodium chloride and water from the neutralization reaction. So here, dear students, we know now what is meant by double substitution reaction as the third type from the types of chemical reactions. We have thermal decomposition reaction اللي هو decomposition of compound by heating, because we call here this type of chemical reaction as thermal decomposition. Thermal, which means heat, and decomposition, which means breaking down. يبقى لما يجي يقول لي what is meant by thermal decomposition reaction, اقول له breaking down of compounds by heating into simpler substance, بخليه حاجة أبسط منه. We have other side or other type of chemical reaction. We have here simple substitution reaction, as element replaces another element. substitution يعني replaces يعني بيحل محله. يبقى thermal decomposition we know, and here we have simple substitution, element replaces another element in its compound. يخش مكانه في الكومباوند بتاعه. How come? Why? Because this element is more active. أكيد هو أنشط منه، عشان كده يقدر can replace another element in its compound. And we know how can we answer the questions of simple substitution reaction according to what? According to the chemical activity series. As we studied before, we have arranging of elements in descending order تنازليا يعني from more active to less active element, as we studied in second prep and third prep في تانية اعدادي وتالتة اعدادي. And today we have double substitution reaction. عرفنا يعني ايه double substitution reaction as the reaction between or exchange between ions to form a new compound, and we have many equations about these types of reactions as we studied before. We have here experiment, this video illustrate the reaction between sodium, as we have here piece of sodium in water as simple substitution reaction. As we have sodium will replace what? Will replace hydrogen in water, forming sodium hydroxide, and the hydrogen gas here burn with pop sound. Burn with pop sound. الهيدروجين طبعا بيعمل burn with pop sound بصوت فرقعة شديدة. As we have this video illustrate the reaction between sodium and what? And water as a simple substitution reaction. Simple substitution reaction. Okay. So how can we answer simple substitution reaction? ازاي احنا نقدر نجاوب simple substitution reaction؟ قلنا according to the chemical activity series، زي ما بنشتغل عليها in chemical activity series according to the arranging of elements in descending order according to its or their chemical reaction. Here we have another equation or another chemical reaction, as here we have a chemical reaction between what and what? Between sodium, here sodium hydroxide and what? And hydrochloric acid. زي ما احنا شايفين اللي احنا لسه قايلينها، صوديوم هيدروكسيد NaOH plus HCl والفورم salt and water. زي ما احنا شايفين هيطلع لي ملح وميه. So here we have sodium hydroxide and what? Hydrochloric acid will form salt ملح اهو باين as a white precipitate الملح, and water as this solution forming salt and water اللي هو الملح والميه. هنا هوت from this equation we can indicate the neutralization reaction as exchange between ions forming هنا salt and water as neutral compounds. So here, dear students, we know now what is meant by simple substitution reaction, double substitution reaction, and how can we differentiate between both reactions here according to the definition and according to the mechanism of chemical reaction in each one of them. نقدر here to يعني little review هنا نرجع كده as we have some questions about thermal decomposition reaction. Thermal decomposition reaction. Here we have formation of black substance by heating a green copper carbonate as a homework from the previous episode. كنا يعني سيبناها وفي many students حلوها على الجروب on Facebook. قالوا ايه؟ formation of black substance by heating green copper carbonate. ممكن اجاوبه بالايكويشن. How come? Like that, heating green copper carbonate. يبقى green copper carbonate يبقى CuCO3 by heating triangle forming what? Forming copper oxide plus what? Plus CO2 carbon dioxide. So that's enough. That's not enough. ده مش كفاية. بجاوب give reason we should write what names and colors. لازم اكتب اسمائهم بقى والوانهم عشان بجاوب give reason not complete. يبقى لازم اقول له هنا green copper carbonate forming black copper oxide plus carbon dioxide. If we remember the chemical equation, لو انا افتكرت الchemical equation with names we can answer give reason for, we can answer what happens when, we can answer complete, we can answer choose. Any question about these or this type of chemical reaction, we can start with chemical equation and end with chemical equation. As we have here another chemical equation as in form of give reason for, red mercuric oxide changed into silver color by heating. Red mercuric oxide. يبقى we answer according to the chemical equation. Mercuric oxide 2HgO. Triangle by heating. Triangle which means heating. 2HgO as we have red mercuric oxide. So we have red mercuric oxide will decompose into what? By heating طبعا into yes 2Hg plus O2, and we know Hg is mercury اللي هو بيسموه بالعربي الزئبق اللي هو has silver color لونه فضي used in thermometer silver ايه color. And here we have what? We have oxygen. So we can answer by using chemical equation in thermal decomposition reaction and in simple, both simple and double substitution reaction. Okay. Here we have sodium react with diluted HCl while copper doesn't react with the same acid. Sodium reacts with diluted HCl while copper doesn't react with the same acid. طبعا هنا we can't answer by using chemical equation. لأنه بيقول لي give reason for why sodium Na react with HCl while Cu اللي هو الكبر doesn't react with HCl hydrochloric acid. As we studied before, we have chemical activity series. واحنا كنا عرفناها مع بعض لو نفتكر كنا بنكتب كده كنبة كنبة كمجال. بصوا احنا هنحفظها كده عشان نفتكرهم. كنبة كمجال زن في سن. So as we have PbH Cu Hg Ag Au, and then we have platinum Pt. So we have sodium react with hydrochloric acid while copper doesn't react with hydrochloric acid. طبعا sodium more active than hydrogen while copper less active than hydrogen, because during the chemical equation we write Na plus 2HCl forming. طبعا نحط هنا 2 هيطلع لي 2NaCl plus H2 gas evolve, because sodium can replace hydrogen, sodium more active. But if we put copper Cu plus 2HCl. We write what? We write no reaction. Why? Because copper less active. Copper less active than hydrogen in chemical activity Cs. So we write this mechanism or this points in the answer as we have sodium more active than what؟ مش هقول له than HCl، than hydrogen in chemical activity Cs, while copper is less active than hydrogen. طبعا we talk about what? We talk about hydrogen with sodium, and we talk about hydrogen with copper. We have another equation here as both magnesium and zinc replaces copper in copper sulfate solution as the previous equation. As here we have زي ما احنا شايفين بيقول لي both sodium and zinc، صح؟ مش هو قال كده في السؤال؟ sorry, both magnesium and what? And zinc replaces what? Copper in copper sulfate. If we remember the chemical activity Cs زي ما احنا شايفينها هنا قدامنا both magnesium and what? And zinc replaces what? Replaces أو replace hydrogen. or ما قاليش هيدروجين، قال لي مين طيب؟ ايوه هيقول لي replace copper. اقول له because both zinc and magnesium more active than مين؟ more active than copper. يبقى we have here اقول له because both magnesium and zinc because both magnesium and zinc are more active than copper in what? In chemical activity Cs. Both magnesium and zinc are more active than copper in chemical activity Cs. So, as you see, dear students, both or all equations, we can use them during the answers of give reason for or of what happens when, as we have complete choose. If we remember the chemical equation and we understand the mechanism of chemical equation. عشان some students ask me we should remember يعني نحفظ بس. لا طبعا we should understand why these chemical reactions take place by this way. ليه حصلت بالطريقة دي not by other way. Why copper doesn't react with hydrochloric acid and the sodium react with hydrochloric acid at the same time. Why magnesium and zinc can replace copper in copper carbonate or in any compound, because magnesium and zinc more active than copper in chemical activities. And we have other questions about colors. The only formation of black color on heating مثلا copper carbonate or copper sulfate. طبعا black color we have copper oxide black color. لو قال لي مثلا formation of white precipitate او yellowish white precipitate yellowish white ابيض مصفر، اقول له طبعا sodium nitrite yellowish white as we studied before in the previous episode زي ما خدناها الحلقه اللي فاتت. So we have to understand firstly by balance. لازم نخلي بالنا من balance of chemical equation. To understand then we can remember. لو انا فهمتها هحفظها. Not other or opposite way to understand or to remember then understand. We can't remember firstly and then understand secondly in any point in our curriculum. We should understand firstly and then answer this equation. طيب انا هدي دلوقتي question ومش هجاوبه. يعني الستودنتس انتوا هتحاولوا انتوا اللي تجاوبوه as a homework. هسيبه هكتبه على الوايت بورد قدامكم وهسيبه عشان تقدروا تكتبوه وهشوف يعني اللي يقدر يجاوبه. طبعا انا هجاوبه next episode مش دلوقتي. طبعا we know from the chemical activity series aluminium and zinc. aluminium more active than zinc. yes or no؟ اقول له طبعا الالومنيوم اكتر انشط من الزنك. طيب يبقى aluminium or zinc can react faster with hydrochloric acid. واحد يقول لي both react with hydrochloric acid but aluminium faster. اقول له logically this scientific idea is right. الفكره علميا صح. logically لا بس ده مش اللي هيحصل. الزنك react faster with hydrochloric acid than aluminium. why؟ واحد يقول لي ازاي؟ انا لما انا فاكر الكيميكال اكتيفيتي سيريس الومنيوم الاي ال الالومنيوم وبعدين تحتيه الزنك يبقى الالومنيوم مور اكتف ذان زنك. يبقى ازاي الزنك رياكت فاستر وذ هيدروكلوريك اسيد ذان الومنيوم؟ نكتبه كجيف ريزن كده. وعلى فكره جيف ريزن وجاء ان سكند تيرم اكزامز ان ماني جفرنريتس جاء في محافظات كتير يعني. هكتبه لكم على الوايت بورد هنقوله كده مع بعض اهو. give reason for aluminium react slower with hydrochloric acid than zinc, although aluminium is more active than zinc. طبعا in chemical activity series. in chemical activity series. اقوله السؤال تاني عشان مش هجاوبه النهارده. try to find the answer of this question. بيقول لي aluminium aluminium Al react slower بيتفاعل ببطء مع مين؟ مع الهيدروكلوريك acid than zinc. اقول له تمام بس الالومنيوم more active than zinc in chemical activity series. لو نفتكر مع بعض الكويستشن انا هسيبه قدامكم اهو وهكتب كده الكيميكال اكتيفيتي سيريس. طبعا احنا اتفقنا مع بعض اهو. بي بي اللي هو الليد اللي هو الرصاص على فكره. بي بي اتش طبعا اللي هو الهيدروجين. واحد يقول لي الالومنيوم طبعا as we see aluminium more active than مين؟ than zinc. صح؟ اقول له طبعا aluminium اهو more active than مين؟ than zinc. how come zinc react faster than aluminium with الزنك هو اللي يسبق with hydrochloric acid than مين؟ than aluminium. هو ده قصد السؤال. and zinc is more active than aluminium is more active than zinc in chemical activity series. ازاي؟ ده معنى السؤال. طبعا اتمنى تكونوا copy this question to answer or try to answer on our group on Facebook مدرسة على الهواء ابتدائي واعدادي طبعا. and at the same time maybe by phone in the next episode ان شاء الله. طبعا زي ما انتم شايفين السؤال قدامنا aluminium reacts slower than with hydrochloric acid than zinc although aluminium is more active than zinc in chemical activity series. Okay. طبعا عرفنا double substitution reaction and we have the kinds of thermal decomposition reaction, simple substitution reaction and double substitution reaction. At the same time we have neutralization reaction. واحد يقول لي neutralization as double substitution depends on exchange between ions to form a new compound. طيب we have the last point or the last equation, chemical reaction in this lesson as oxidation and reduction. واحد لما يسمع كلمة oxidation هيقول لي oxidation يعني oxygen صح؟ تمام oxygen. طب oxidation which means what? Oxidation which means increasing the ratio of oxygen. لما زود the ratio of oxygen in any substance we make oxidation. We make what? Oxidation. طيب reduction يبقى انا بقلل مين؟ يبقى the ratio of what? Of oxygen decreases in substance. If we know one of them we can find the answer of the other side as oxidation and reduction. So as we see here we have here, dear students, we have oxidation and reduction reactions concerning the ratio of oxygen بالنسبة للأكسجين. We have other definition as we have oxidation and reduction. Oxidation which means what? A chemical process which causes بتسبب increase of the what? Oxygen percentage or ratio طبعا in substance. يبقى we increase the percentage or the ratio of oxygen in substance as we talk about oxidation. If we talk about reduction here as هقول له برضو chemical reaction or chemical process as you like which causes هقول له ايه؟ ايوه decrease of oxygen percentage. يبقى بقلل الاكسجين. يبقى هنا اقول له chemical process or chemical reaction decreases of what? Of oxygen. بقلل الاكسجين percentage or ratio. طيب يبقى we have other here we have oxidation and reduction. So we have other equation or we have other factors here. We have oxidizing agent or factor and reducing agent. ممكن اقولها factor او agent براحتنا. المهم انا how can we understand what is meant by reducing agent? Reducing يعني cause reduction صح؟ مش reducing cause reduction. مش انا عندي هنا reduction اهو يعني the ratio or percentage of oxygen حصل لها ايه؟ decrease. Yes. So we have reducing agent and we have oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Reducing agent يبقى substance which takes oxygen or gives hydrogen طبعا during the chemical reaction. يبقى لو اي حاجة اخدت الاكسجين يبقى قللته ولا زودته؟ اقول له ده reducing agent يبقى make reduction. Okay, and on the other side here we have oxidizing factor. هقول له substance which what? oxidizing يعني make oxidation يعني make the ratio of oxygen increases. اقول له يبقى gives oxygen or takes hydrogen طبعا during the chemical reaction. يبقى if we talk about oxidizing agent we say substance gives oxygen. Oxidizing agent or oxidizing factor as you like. يعني ممكن اقولها كده ممكن اقولها كده. يبقى gives what? Oxygen during the chemical action. انما reducing agent takes oxygen during the chemical reaction. We have here example, as we have hydrogen with copper oxide. Hydrogen with what? With copper oxide. طبعا hydrogen replace الكبر، دخل مكان الكبر. احنا مش عارفين hydrogen more active than copper؟ عشان كده الكبر can't react with hydrochloric acid، صح؟ Yes. So hydrogen replaces copper. In chemical activity series, hydrogen more active than copper, but we will complete this equation, dear students, after a little break, then we will return back again. Hello again, dear students. Let's go to complete our equation about oxidation reduction according to the percentage of oxygen. Because we have another definitions of oxidation and reduction according to electrons. Maybe we will complete in the next episode. الحلقة اللي جاية. But here we have the reaction between hydrogen and copper oxide. As we see here on the monitor, we have hydrogen can replace copper because hydrogen more active than copper in chemical activity series. So copper, its color is red. واحد يقول لي maybe reddish brown او brownish red or red. ممكن اقول بني محمر او احمر مدي على بني او لونه احمر. يعني الثلاث الوان صح. Copper is red or reddish brown or brownish red. And we have hydrogen with oxygen forming water vapor. So in the first step here, the hydrogen element here change into what? Change into water, صح؟ تمام. So here we have oxidation or reduction. The percentage or the ratio of oxygen increases or decreases. أقول له طبعا هنا we have no oxygen. Here we have oxygen. So we have oxidation. Because what is meant by oxidation? Oxidation as the process in which the ratio or the percentage of oxygen increases. So we have copper oxide change into copper, صح؟ يعني on this side we have copper oxide and in this side we have copper. So the ratio of oxygen increases or decreases. هيقول لي طبعا decreases. So we have reduction. We have what? Reduction, because the ratio or the percentage of oxygen decreases. On the other side, we have to know the oxidizing agent. واحنا لسه قايلينها. Oxidizing agent gives oxygen and reducing agent takes oxygen. reducing agent اكنه هو اللي اخد هو اللي اخد الاكسجين، مش كانه هو فعلا اللي اخد اكسجين. يبقى we have hydrogen here. hydrogen takes oxygen. طبعا هو اللي اخد الاكسجين، مش بقى water or the other side. So hydrogen is what? Is oxidizing agent. And the copper oxide is what? Is reducing agent. مش هو الكوبر oxide gives oxygen؟ يبقى reducing what agent? As we see here, we have reducing agent and oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent طبعا gives oxygen and reducing agent takes oxygen. يبقى انا هنا هو هقول له الاوكسيدايزنج ايجنت gives oxygen. يبقى مين اللي gives oxygen؟ بس انا هغير بس حاجه صغيره هنا عشان احنا بس حطينا واحده مكان واحده. طبعا الهيدروجين احنا زي ما اتفقنا حصل له هو اخد الاكسجين، صح؟ فهو reducing agent لانه حصل له اوكسيديشن. وفي نفس الوقت الكوبر اوكسايد حصل له ريدكشن، فبقى هو مين؟ تمام، يبقى هو الاوكسيدايزنج ايجنت لان هو اللي gives oxygen. As we have here this video زي ما احنا شايفين the piece of copper، عندنا حته جزء نحاس by heating هيبقى لونها بلاك كابر اوكسايد بقى لونها اسود اهو، بلاك كابر اوكسايد. خلاص يعني CuO. اوكي طيب ايه اللي حصل؟ وي بامب هيدروجين جاز، هنبص هنحط عليها زيفين هنا فوق هنا هيدروجين جاز as the chemical equation. بصوا رجع لونها ازاي؟ because hydrogen takes oxygen as reducing agent and the copper gives oxygen as oxidizing agent. Again, we put hydrogen and the hydrogen takes oxygen as reducing agent and the copper gives oxygen as oxidizing agent. From this equation here, we have hydrogen reducing agent, we have copper oxide as oxidizing agent. On the first step here, hydrogen change into water, so we have oxidation because the ratio of oxygen increases. And on the second step here, copper oxide change into copper, so we have the ratio of oxygen or percentage of oxygen decreases, so we have reduction process. يعني I think we can end this episode with this point today, but I hope we can understand all points in this episode as we study thermal decomposition reaction, decomposition or breaking down of compounds by heating into simpler substance. Number 2, as a simple substitution reaction, as element replaces another element in its compound according to chemical activity series. Number 3, double substitution reaction, as exchange between ions forming a new compound or compounds. At the same time, we have the oxidation reduction according to oxygen, because in the next episode we will take other type of طبعا oxidation and reduction. زي ما احنا شفنا هنا اهوت معانا الجيف ريزن كان homework، اتمنى ان احنا نحله. And in the next episode we will answer this equation together. Aluminium reacts slower with hydrochloric acid than zinc, although aluminium is more active than zinc in chemical activity series. And by this question, dear students, I hope you get more benefits from this episode. Until we meet again, thank you, see you soon, and goodbye.